I'm delighted to be joined first by Transport Secretary Mark Harper. Great to see you,
Morning,
Mark.
Camilla.
Funnily enough, the Labour Party are running
to come
scared.
on your programme.
Well, I know, and we've had our altercations in the past, but it's good to see you in the flesh because would you believe the Labour Party haven't put anyone up to us today? I think because of my interview with Emily Thornberry last week. So I'm glad that even though you're having an absolute hammering in the polls, you're not afraid of some robust questioning.
No, well, perhaps that says what Labour think about your viewers and the fact they maybe don't fit Labour's metropolitan bias, Camilla. But no, I'm always happy to come on, even when you give me a hard time.
All right, I'm going to give you a hard time about the polling because it is absolutely catastrophic for the Tories. We've now got a prediction that you might only win 72 seats, which would be, let's be honest, apocalyptic. We've got Rishi Sunak's approval rating continuing to tank. There's a suggestion, according to a poll done by Techni, that Sunak isn't trusted on tax anymore. What's going wrong? This election campaign's been an unmitigated disaster, hasn't it, Transport Secretary?
No, look, it hasn't. Look, first of all, I understand why people want to ask about the polls, but it's worth just saying, look, apart from some early postal votes, nobody's voted in this election yet, and we also know from the polls, if we're going to quote them, a record number of people, I think 44% of the electorate, haven't yet made up their minds about who they're going to vote for. It's exactly the reason why we come on shows like yours, to make the case about a Conservative government with the programme that we've set out for lower taxes, dealing with migration, a fully costed programme for government. And in fact, Labour let the cat out the bag this morning. The programmes that Wes Streeting was on, he's let the cat out the bag, but there's more Labour spending coming that's not in the manifesto. He said the manifesto is effectively a document to get them through an election campaign. And that means only one thing. It means what we've been saying is correct, which is you vote Labour, there are unfunded spending promises, and that can only mean more taxes on hard-working families. And we've costed that at £2,000 for an average family over the Parliament. And I don't think your viewers can afford that sort of tax burden. And that's why under the Conservatives they'll get reductions in taxes. We've laid out a clear programme, fully funded to do that, on working families, on making sure pensioners don't pay the retirement tax they'd pay under Labour. I think that's a very strong offer. That's the case we're going to be making between now and polling day, and I think that's where people's minds will be concentrated about the potential choices they face. Only Rishi Sunak or Keir Starmer is going to be Prime Minister on the 5th of July, and those people thinking about voting reform, if they vote reform, they're going to get a Labour government with a large majority and a blank cheque to do whatever it likes.
Having said that, when you keep on doubling down on this £2,000 claim, you're saying that Labour will add £2,000 to British households. At the same time, Fraser Nelson, the editor of The Spectator, crunched the numbers for the Conservatives, and he calculated that over the course of the next Parliament, should Rishi Sunak win power again, that the Conservatives are going to add £3,000 to people's tax bills. For as long as those tax thresholds remain frozen, Mr. Harper, people are going to end up paying more tax.
Look, we've set out our plans very clearly. Our manifesto has us stabilising and then reducing taxes. And if you're an average worker, you now face the lowest tax rates that you have done for 50 years with the reduction we've already made in national insurance and a further 2% cut to come. You face the lowest tax rates than you have for 50 years. Now that's the direction of travel that we want to do. Now look, it's been tough because we had to get the public finances in order. You know, the argument that Rishi Sunak made when he was running to be Prime Minister was that you had to deal with the public finances and then cut taxes, which you could do in a sustainable way. Now, we've had to do that hard graft to do that. The British people have had to do that, but we're now in a position where we can cut taxes in a sustainable way, and we're the only party that can win this election that's setting that out. Under Labour, there's going to be more spending, more taxes. For example, just this morning, they haven't ruled out increasing council tax bans and revaluing people's properties. We know they want to do that. In Wales, where Labour's been in power for 25 years, they're currently legislating to revalue people's properties and increase council tax bans, and they haven't ruled out doing that in England.
Okay.
That would be a massive increase for working families, and we have ruled out doing either of those things.
OK, I mean, is it helpful necessarily for Lord Cameron to be attacking Nigel Farage? The people you should be attacking all the time are Labour rather than Reform, because at the end of the day, you're almost attacking yourself. You're attacking the right. The former Prime Minister has said that Nigel Farage has been trying to destroy the Conservative Party by standing for reform. I think with these populists, what you get is inflammatory language and hopeless policy. But at the end of the day, populism, if that's how you want to dress up Reform and Farage, is always going to be more successful electorally than unpopularism. I mean, the Tories are unpopular, and yet he's attacking Reform for being populist. Which is preferable?
Look, I think it's important to appeal to voters that are thinking about voting for Reform, who've previously voted Conservative. And I said, I think those voters want lower taxes and they want lower migration, both legal and illegal. We've set out very clear plans to do both of those things. We've got a clear manifesto to cut taxes. We've got a clear plan to deal with legal migration, which we accept is too high. We've already made changes, not promised ones, but already made changes that will halve legal migration over the next year. And we've got a very clear plan, our Rwanda plan, to deter illegal migration. Labour, the only alternative government that's possible, will do none of those things. They'll put people's taxes up and they'll put up migration and have an effective amnesty for people coming here illegally. Now, that's the choice-facing people, and I think those people that are attracted to Reform can see that of those two choices, they need to vote Conservative to get lower taxes and lower migration.
Is Rishi Sunak a help or a hindrance on the campaign trail for Tory MPs? We noted this week that Andrea Jenkins has removed all reference to Rishi Sunak and the Conservatives from her leaflets. She's instead been photographed with Nigel Farage.
Well, look, I think he's very strong on the campaign trail. I still remember when he was Chancellor of the Exchequer, and many of my constituents do, when we faced a global pandemic. He took the necessary steps to protect millions of jobs, thousands of businesses. My constituents have not forgotten that. He had their back at the most difficult time possible, and he's continued that record in office. He did what was necessary. I think people can always, about him, people can always take this. He will do the right thing for the country, it's in the country's interest, even if it's difficult and he has to take some flack for doing it. That's what he did when he got the public finances under control and then able to cut taxes. He'll always do the right thing. That's what people want in a Prime Minister, someone to do the right thing for them and their family, and not what's immediately popular and easy for him.
But then why, if he's so great, is his approval rating worse not only than Boris Johnson's, but also Liz Truss?
Well, look, I think the Prime Minister set out a very clear offer at this election, a very clear choice for people about cutting taxes and about delivering on the clear commitments in our manifesto. For example, to increase defence spending to 2.5%. You know, you'll have covered in the news today the summit that's going on at the moment dealing with Putin's illegal war in Ukraine and about how we deal with that. We've been Ukraine's strongest supporter. That's why we've said we want to increase defence spending to 2.5% in an uncertain world to make families more secure, and we've got a plan to do so. Again, not backed by the Labour Party, something they wouldn't do and aren't able to afford.
Would you be asking Boris Johnson to record a video endorsing your campaign locally? Would that help?
Look, I'm very happy having the Prime Minister endorsing my campaign. I'm very happy going out on the doorsteps. But I'm very happy. I want all Conservatives to be campaigning for the Conservative Party. I think every Conservative 100% should be focused on winning this election and fighting for every vote right up until the polls close on the 4th of July. That is the single task for every Conservative. Should Johnson be on the campaign trail then? Should Johnson be on the campaign trail physically then? Look, I'm very happy for every Conservative who wants us to win to get out there and campaign for the Conservative Party. Anyone who wants us to win, very happy to have them on the campaign trail campaigning for votes. That's what every Conservative should be doing.
Is that a direct appeal to Boris Johnson?
And every No, it's just saying very simply, every Conservative should be out there fighting for every vote. We've got activists up and down the country who I know are going out day in, day out, rain and shine. We've had rather a lot of rain in this summer election. They've been going out, knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, and every Conservative should be 100% focused on winning that election, making our case and setting out that choice for lower taxes under the Conservatives compared to higher taxes under Labour. Every Conservative should get involved in that, and I'm very happy to see all of them on the campaign trail.
All right. Many thanks indeed, Mark Harper, for joining me this morning. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.